Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of the Grind Podcast, brought to you by the AI3 Leadership Academy. I am your host, Anthony Ireland. But before we get started, I'd like to encourage all our listeners and supporters to please like, rate, subscribe, and even leave us a comment on our channel. Your feedback is greatly appreciated, so feel free to do that. But with that being said, here's our next guest with hometown hero and professional NBA basketball player, Ryan Gomes. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us on the Grind Podcast. This is episode 15. Right now, we're in location in Waterbury, Connecticut. My hometown, Ryan Gomes' hometown, both born and raised. But we're at this location for a reason. My good friend Brandon, who's the owner of this building, he, for me, was actually growing up. I didn't understand the importance of Black-owned businesses, but Brandon was the very first person that I realized, he's one of our culture that has his business in Waterbury, Connecticut. So that's why we're here paying homage. We have our guest right here, Ryan Gomes, one of Waterbury's favorites, one of Waterbury's finest. So I definitely appreciate you coming on. And yeah, man, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you to Anthony Ireland, and thank you to Boogie B. That's why I call him Boogie B. And other people here in attendance. Born and raised here in Waterbury, grew up in Laurel Estates projects. Ever since a young one, I attended Bucks Hill Elementary, North End Middle School, and then Wilby High School. I used to always come into B's barbershop at the time when he was working at Tiny's barbershop. Back off of Cook Street. So I've known Boogie B for a long time, and like you said, man, for him to own his own business and for us to come back and see where we were before and see where we're at now, and Boogie B still standing doing his own thing, that shows the grind, that shows the dedication and what he wanted to achieve. He's achieved then, and he still got it going right now. So I appreciate the space that you and him already, had the relationship, and for me to be able to come back and share this story in the environment kind of where I grew up and things changed for me, especially with the game of basketball and just in life, because like you said in the beginning, the barbershop is where you kind of earn your stripes. Yeah, right. you let loose and you earn your stripes from everyone else, and just hearing the way things were, the way things used to be, and then you kind of create your story around that type of stuff that you heard from the OGs. And that's what I think, helped me grow into the man I am off the court and on the court, because all the hoopers, all the football players, all the baseball players before, currently, and when I was playing, used to always come through the shop. Right. And I think that's where you gain that type of sense of sense of
unity,
unity, culture. And then the toughness, and you hear I know you got Mark Konecki in them tonight. Rest in peace to Matt Hurdle. You playing against Hurdle, you can't be doing that stuff you was doing against Torrington or Wilkins. So some of those things help fuel your fire before you went into the battle. So I always used to hear and listen to what was going on in the shop and try to use some of that, even if it was negative or positive, to kind of incorporate it into proving to whoever was saying that things wouldn't occur going into playing basketball at the high school level.
Right. Now for you, because we all each have our individual experience growing up in Waterbury, but for our viewers, what was it like for you growing up, and what were a few of your outlets?
Most importantly, I always say this, no matter where I'm at, I grew up in Laurel Estates, like I said, and for those you don't know, it's the inner city, project type, environment. And for me, it was just me and my mom. I grew up with just me and my mom. That was it. I live in an 88 Farm Crest. Walking to school from Farm Crest to Bucks Hill, walking to school from Farm Crest to North End, walking to school from Farm Crest to Wilby, and then I moved over off Cook Street when I got into high school at my freshman year, middle of my freshman year. But the outlet was just waking up every day and seeing it was just me and her. So just seeing her go to work, seeing her be able to provide just for me and her. And like we say in this The Grind Podcast, the grind that she was putting in at a young age that you see, the only question was, hey, I need you to pay attention to school. Don't be a bad kid. I got to go to work. you got to be up at 7. I got to catch the bus to work. You got to be up, and now you got to not be a man, but you got to have some responsibilities.
Yeah,
I got to go I got to go to work, and I got to trust that you're gonna go to school and just follow the directions. It wasn't like go to school and you're gonna become a basketball player. It was just like I just want you to be a good student. Graduate the levels you need to graduate, and then hopefully when if you get to college and you pursue whatever you want to pursue, that's there. But just watching every day, what she did and working 2 jobs and come home working 7 to 3, catching the bus home and then having to get a ride to work to go back and work 11 to 7.
Yeah, man.
And on some days, the most thing I could do is just do what she asked me to do that and then do well in school, and everything else kind of flourished after that. But basketball was not the first thing on my mind. The first thing on my mind is just making her proud, because every day I seen what she had to do.
Right.
If I had to go ahead and make Elio's pieces in the microwave, that's what I had to do.
Right.
I don't care how much we had. It was just like, I'm happy that you doing the best you can to help provide for both of us, and then whatever comes out of this. But it was never, I'm jumping too far, but it was never like I'm gonna be this. At that age, it was like I'm just happy to be living in the place, being able to go to Bucks Hill Park in the backyard and just go shoot. Every once in a while play flag football, go to Monto, play a little softball or baseball, ride bikes to Scoville's Dam. It was just, those are the things that I was just being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I decided to kind of take it a little bit serious, that's when things kind of changed for me. But the outlet throughout the city was everybody. I want to give a huge shout out right now to Darius Butler.
Okay, yeah, for real.
Another huge shout out before Darius Butler, rest in peace to Hubie Williamson, because he's the one who I got my first start playing at Pearl Street. And I was playing, Jerome Stallings was one of my first coaches to put me on the team with the likes of Mike Stallings, William Saunders, Andrew Parker, and that's what kind of changed my view on basketball, because I was the same age with the same inner city kids, and they were well ahead of me. They were well ahead of me at the time, but I was one of them kids that was just happy to be around those people who had that type of talent, until I grasped that I need to take this a little bit more serious, because maybe I could become something, not more than them, but I could become where the level they're at and the recognition they were getting. Maybe I could get that as I continue to work, but I always wanted to be around those type of people who enjoy the things that I was starting to love and enjoy, and that was the game of basketball.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can definitely relate to that as well. My mom, I was, going to school as well, and I could just remember days where I wouldn't even see my mom, working just 2 jobs, double shifts. I'd come home and, she'd just be getting home, whether it was from third shift or first shift that morning. So I can, I feel like that says a lot, with where you are today, just like you said, that your outlet, your very first outlet was your mom. You know what I mean? I think that says a lot about who you are and where you are today. But just going back a little bit, and if you remember, who was that first person to just put the ball in your hands and give you that initial inspiration?
Family members, they want to tell you to go ahead, you need to play, And, for me, I used to like playing in the backyard and with my friends in the projects, because it was no audience, it was no, people kind of like, let's go, Ryan, go do it, make a shot, why you not running back hard enough? Like those type of things, and then I just like to just play the game and have fun. So people probably don't even know this right here, is that my first time really playing, I was playing for the PAL. I ended up playing they signed me up to play in the PAL, and they used to have the games downtown off of Willow Street at I forgot the name of the place, but it's right off Willow Street. And I remember the first time I ever played, my uncle and my cousins and my mom was in the stands, and first time we went out there, like, let's go, Ryan, yelling, and I curled up and I subbed out, because I didn't want that. It felt like it was pressure. And that was my first time being in a setting where, fans and people, because all the other times I was just going in the backyard, shooting, trying to mimic people I seen on TV, Michael Jordan shots or anything like that. But it was like all in the fun. I never took it like it was a serious thing at that time, because I was still a kid. I didn't start playing basketball really until the summer of after I graduated, 7th grade year. That's when I really kind of started. And then 8th grade, it kind of really took off when I started playing Pearl Street.
Okay. Now, I know there was a ton of competition back then, but okay, so right around the time 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, who was your biggest competition, or who was that person that you was like, oh, I gotta catch him, or he's better than me right now?
Well, when I first got on the Pearl Street, like I said, I was playing with Jerome Stallings was the coach, Mike Smigowski Sr. was the assistant coach. Andrew Parker was on that team. William Saunders was on that team. Mike Stallings was on that team. But size-wise, me and Andrew were around the same. And Andrew at that time was, more physical, more alert, more energy. He had all those things. So, we used to have practices, and I used to be, I won't say fearful, but I would say like, man, I was just playing the game, but they really playing for something, and they were playing probably longer than me. So, of course, they had an upper hand for the level of play they were at, the energy level they were playing at, and just probably the knowledge of the game was well advanced for me. So I always was like, I'm a step behind everybody, and I just always try to go out and play as hard as I can to try to get, not noticed, but like I could probably be on their level.
Right.
But I wasn't as skilled as them. Matt Hurdle, like I said, rest in peace, he was in the pro street, and he was just like, a player that I could think of. We were smaller, but he was just like a pogo stick and could run the floor hard and finish, and he could shoot, he had touch. So those were my two competition, with Andrew being on the team and Matt Hurdle being, we used to go against him. But, when you're playing anything, you want more playing time to the next guy. So it was competition with me and Andrew to play, and then there was competition when we played against Matt Hurdle. Henry Bond was another player that was out there. Cedric Hunter was another player that was playing in the pro street. CeCe was playing in pro street. Gordon Shepard was playing in pro street. So it was, all the likes that we saying now, when they got to high school, we all had a name at that time, but as youth, they really had a name. They really was playing, travel team basketball down at the rec with Darius consistently. I was just in the projects playing every once in a while until I got kind of a little bit noticed, and Jerome was like, hey, we practiced at the Y. We would love to have you on your team, but, we got to come out and see, how you play. Right. And then from there on, that's when the mentality kind of shifted with me, because it was more not just in the backyard kind of playing. It was like, we got practice, I got to go to the Y. We got practice in the bottom gym at the Y. Jerome was having us run miles on the top, where they used to have the track at the top, so we used to have to run, around that 16, 18 times before we even practice. So it was like, oh, this is different. This ain't just wake up after you ate some Lucky Charms and just go in the back and just shoot, and then go back home and eat some pancakes and just shoot 5 more shots. So it was different. It was more, my mind started to change. Like, this is why these guys are good, is because they put in the work.
Yeah. Okay, so to carry on off that, what was at what point or what age, you touched on a little bit, but was when you had that aha moment, like okay, I can be good, I can work hard and get to another level, I can improve my game. With everything, you was, Mr. Stallings, what he had you doing. So when was that click for you? Like, damn, okay, like,
honestly,
be all right.
I'm gonna be honest, it didn't happen probably till like the middle of my sophomore year in high school. That's just being, as straight as possible. I was playing with those guys, we was winning, we was doing things, and we played in all types of nutmeg games and 3-on-3s in Hartford when Hoop It Up was out, and we won championships and stuff. But I didn't feel like I was still like there yet. When I got to high school after the middle of my sophomore year, I was starting as a sophomore, but realistically, I was only starting because I was the biggest guy at Wilby. I was the tallest guy. And on my team at that time, we had, rest in peace to Will Stinson, Boo Boo. He was a senior. He was a starting shooting guard, sniper, great, one of the greatest. Maybe I don't know guys before me, one of the greatest probably left-hand shooters out of Waterbury. I know Fred Fox wants to shout out because he can shoot the ball a little bit, so I'll give him one right now. But I played with Boo Boo, and just going to the high school games in the NVL. The crowd. Wilby, we're a public school. Crosby's a public school. But whenever teams played, no matter at Wilby or Wilby was going somewhere, the crowd followed. And as a sophomore, I seen the kind of love that and the energy that can be the support behind any player that was attending Wilby or Crosby, because I don't want to say it like the hood, but I want to say the city came and supported each rivalry, each team. If we were going to Ansonia, Wilby, they was coming. If y'all wasn't playing, if Crosby wasn't playing at home, or Kenny wasn't playing at home, or if Kenny was going to Torrington and Wilby had a night off, we'll be going to Torrington to kind of watch the game. It was just like more of a love and unity and support thing, back in those days. So middle of my sophomore year, it was like, okay, I'm starting now. Start to click, like, Boo Boo's he's a senior, so he's gonna be going. I had Dimitri Heath, who was a point guard, who was gonna be coming back. So it was like, this may be, my chance. Right. So we played in the state tournament And I think the aha moment was we played in the state tournament. We played against Northwest Catholic, Boo senior year, my sophomore year, and we played against Brooks Sales, who was going to attend the University of Villanova the next year. So, and I'm playing against, I'm only maybe 6'3", 6'4". He's probably like 6'8" at the time. I want to say he might have been a little bit taller. And I'm matching up against him. And I'm a center because I'm a center for our team. He's a center for their team. And I had a decent game. I ain't say I killed, but I had a decent game. But I knew the next year coming back, that was going to be my chance to kind of, it could be my team, it could be Demet's team. It could have been somebody who transferred in his team, but I started playing AAU basketball. Mm-hmm. And I started playing with, Wayne Simone and Connecticut Select. And that's when I noticed the city does matter, and what you do in the city does matter. Don't get me wrong, you got to get your support and you got to get your stripes from where you live at. But when I went to the AAU scene, I really seen the world and the game of basketball at a whole different level. Yeah. And the players that I was seeing play was just like, wow. And then seeing the uniforms and the sneakers that guys was wearing, it was like, wow, this is travel? Yeah. And it was like, I was used to playing in the backyard, getting a t-shirt, playing in Pearl Street from UB and being like, I hope this don't wear off, the color don't wear off, so I could go to Monto next week and wear it, and people like, hey, you played in Pearl Street if they didn't know me, or just be happy to be like, yeah, I'm playing in Pearl Street. Right. But when I went there, it was like scholarships is up next. Right. So that's what really changed my vision. Is when I went on the AAU trail and was playing against some good players, and I wasn't even that good, but playing against those players, that changed my whole aspect on basketball that summer after my sophomore year.
Okay. So I know you touched on the peers that were a little bit ahead of you, and that kind of pushed you and motivated you. But who were those players that, like, it doesn't have to be from Waterbury, but those guys that you may looked up to or even mentored you? Were there any players or anybody in the basketball world that you kind of looked up to or mentored you?
Yeah, I mean, Darius Butler was one of the main guys that I think every, we're talking to any inner city kid that been through the rec, maybe longer than me, or when they went through the rec,
on everybody.
They know,
for sure,
the energy level, the commitment, the hard work, the no slack.
He didn't want nothing in return either.
No, the no slack he never wanted. He just wanted to see you work, and that was his gratifying thing. If you went down there, you're not gonna play around, no extra shots. We're here to work, and when we're done working, you go, because I got 2 other kids or 3 other kids or a whole team coming in here to work. So I think that's changed my mindset. But him, Edmund Saunders, I was he was a senior and I was a freshman. I only played freshman at Wilby as a freshman, but I used to try to sneak in and watch the games when he was playing, because I lived up Laurel Estates at the time, so I would, stick around after our freshman games and watch him, and just to see the crowd that he brought. And
he was a McDonald's All-American early, right?
But see, that's the thing. When I was playing, I didn't even know what that was.
Okay.
I just knew the love and the stuff he was, not the stuff, but the support he was getting from here. I really didn't know nothing about All-American, McDonald's All-American, number 3 power forward in the country, number 2 player in the country, I didn't know none of that. Right. So just seeing the way he played, and he was similar to me in a position, but of course I wasn't athletic like that, so he's running up and down like a deer and being able athletic above the rim, playing above the rim, had a little handle, had a soft touch. It was like, I need to kind of watch this guy and see if I could turn into something like that. So Edmund Saunders was definitely a high influence on me from a distance, because I'm a guy that just likes to watch guys and see what I can steal from their game and see what I can incorporate in my game, because no 2 people are the same player, right. But you can kind of try to grasp some things from other guys and just make it work for you. Mm-hmm. So he was one on the court, but off the court and the work was definitely Darius Butler. And of course, as we keep going, Wayne Simone had a huge impact on my career and the stepping stones that helped build me become the player that I end up being from high school to college. Right. And part of my beginning stages of my NBA career. Because if I'd had that platform to go out to Ohio and play in the big Ohio tournament and see Eddie Griffin, rest in peace, playing, see Andre Barrett, see Kenny Satterfield, see Darius Miles, Eddie Curry, Tyson J. Like these guys, I wouldn't have how far I could probably go.
Right.
So just that opportunity to go out there and see the types of things basketball can get you helped change my mindset of taking it to the next level as a junior, coming back to play in the NBL from that summer of my sophomore year.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that. Was where we were headed. I was going to ask you who was your AAU team?
Yep.
And
so I'll run down a little bit. Wayne Simone was my AAU coach, and he coached the 17s at the time. So there was a lot of coaches who touched me and did a lot of things to help me, get that laziness out of me, because I wasn't, the guy that I am now. I wasn't that in high school. I didn't know how serious to take it. So, you're not playing hard enough. You need to. So there was a lot of coaches. Mr. Brown, who's one of the coaches who helped influence on me. Marco Villa, rest in peace to him. He's from New Britain. He was a coach that helped me out a lot. Malcolm helped me a lot. He's from New Britain as well. But Wayne, of course, he was the head. He was Mr. Connecticut. He was Mr. AAU basketball for me as a youth. I know things have changed where AAU, there's more AAU teams now, but at the time, I want to say probably from 92 to, probably 99, 2000, maybe 5. I don't know, but Wayne was like the guy.
Yeah, he was.
And I played with him and he gave me that opportunity. Now, I'm forever grateful and forever thankful, because even though things might have been the same, I don't know, because at first when I went to Ohio, it was like, wow, this is what can happen.
Right.
And then you got to think, what's next after high school? It's a college scholarship. I mean, it's college, but I was thinking, like, I get a scholarship, then mom's is working hard, but I can get the scholarship. Nobody, I don't need the family to kind of support me, so I can kind of take my tools and what I know and probably hopefully process that and get something out of this if I commit to it as much as I needed to. Because you go to tournaments, you get the booklet, you see this guy's going to St. John's, this guy's going to Florida, this guy's going to Vanderbilt. You're like, oh man, I can get something. I might get something. I don't know if I get something there, but I know I could get a scholarship probably somewhere if I just own in and take this serious.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad we're talking about Wayne and CT Select, because I feel like first Wayne needs to be given his credit, be given his just due, be given his flowers. I feel like he doesn't get enough of the recognition for being ahead of the curve in terms of AAU and sneaker contracts, sneaker deals. I can remember for me,
tournaments, throwing his own tournaments.
Right, yeah, that too. And I can remember for me personally, I was in high school. I never even played with Wayne, but he would give me Adidas sneakers, just to show love and look out, and because I was from the town. So do you remember when CT Select was originally founded, like the first year?
I do not, but I wanted to say this. I know a lot of people might know this, listening, or don't know this when they hear this. But Wayne coached, Marcus Camby, Travis Best, Derek Kellogg, who's the coach at LIU, but he was a hell of a player. I heard of all the good players, Bobby Moore, Will Solomon. There's so many players. If I'm missing them, our team, everybody that played on our AU team, like he gave us an outlet. He gave us an opportunity to believe that there was something more than just the city basketball or the tournaments that we was going to. So I think we all had the opportunity to use it to our advantage. Some of us used it more, some of us used it less, some of us didn't probably think it was realistic. I don't know I'm not in everybody's head, but you had the opportunity, and that's the only thing everybody in the world can ask for, is the first opportunity you get. You leave the impression wherever you go. We go to Ohio, you mad because of something and you don't play well, that might be the only time that coach seen you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was always that person that when the opportunity presented itself, I told myself, I gotta go in all the way. Because I don't know who out here watching. I don't know what this opportunity could present later on. Right. And not saying everybody didn't do that, but it's just like, those is one of the things, and I always had in the back of my mind, is my mom is going every day. Right. It ain't no hiccup. It ain't no, I don't feel it today, I ain't going. It was like, nah, I gotta go. Like, it's me and you, like there's no one else. I gotta go, because if I let you down, then I don't know what might happen. Right. So that's what I thought she always had in her mind. So whenever I was playing, whenever I was trying to do something, I always had like, she only wanted me to do well in school.
Yeah.
I go out here and hoop. This is what I want to do now. So, and I can take away and get a scholarship and not have her maybe work so hard. But if she wants to do that, that's what she want to do. But I was off to Providence at the time after that, and I was like, I'm thankful that I was able to take this serious and get a scholarship to go to a college.
Okay.
We stayed in high school, but I wanted to say that's what I was thinking when I was at those tournaments. It was like, man, you look on the sidelines, you see these coaches, you see these assistants, you're like, whoa, that's Dave Lato from UConn, or that's Jim Boeheim. So it's like they're here to see somebody. So if I'm on next, I hope they hear, I hope that I catch their eye. So that's what you got. That's what I always thought. Like there's a scholarship out there somewhere. I didn't know at what level, but it's like somebody might like you, so you got to play as hard as you can. And that was always my thinking. That was always my motto, because somebody always watching. I try to preach that to the kids now. I know we be in small gyms or anywhere, but when you go on AU tournaments, you don't know who's watching, and that might be the only shot you got for that school. Not that like there's no other schools, but that may be the only shot you got, and your first impression is always the most important thing.
Nah, that's some great insight right there, man. But just to go back on Wayne, I feel like, me personally, I would love to do something just to like
hear his story.
Yeah, hear his story, but also just like personally, person to person, to like tell him thank you. You know what I mean? Whether that's an event, whatever it is, but like I feel like the city, the culture needs to pay homage to Wayne Simone. Not only did he get kids to college, but he took kids off the street, inner city kids off the street. And like a white dude, that isn't the norm. Taking care of 4 or 5 inner city kids, got them in the crib, feeding them, driving them to school, whatever. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. He gets a lot of backlash from coaches because they might see him taking his player or whatever the situation is. But I feel like, just Waterbury in general, in terms of Wayne Simone, the response isn't love anymore. When in the past, 10, 15 years ago, everybody wanted to be with Wayne. Everybody wanted to be.
If he wasn't on select, he was like, man, I need to get with him.
So I feel like, at least that's something that I would want to do, later down the road. But
he definitely, gets a lot of praise from me. Because like I said, man, the opportunity he gave me, if I didn't play well and I played like shit, I might not have been on the team anymore. So it goes hand in hand to me. It gave me the opportunity. I took it to my advantage, but also he gave so many people an opportunity. And Wayne will bend over backwards for any kid.
For sure.
He'll work. Even when I got to my professional career, he would work me out sometimes, and he'd be like, "Gee, I gotta go bring Julian Allen to JFK, and then when I get back, I gotta bring Boosie to Boston, and then I'm gonna finally go home and get some sleep. But tomorrow I gotta be up at 6 a.m. because Nolan is landing in JFK and I got to pick him up." So, I used to hear all the things, and then he's playing in the AAU tournament, and then he got to get all the guys from Hartford, got to meet them here. So it was a lot he was doing, but I know it was out of love and trying to give people an opportunity. So I thank you, Wayne, for my opportunity that you gave me, and I'm pretty sure all the people who still reach out and show you love, and maybe not even say it, I know they're very thankful for that opportunity that you gave them. And you're the cornerstone of the AAU programs now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be like Select. Then, even though it's like, you think it's so far removed, but people copied what you were doing.
For sure.
So you need to get patted on the back for what you did and kind of the mark you left for all these new programs that think they got it figured out, but probably are still, you can provide that knowledge to help them even improve on what they were doing. So huge shout out to Connecticut Select, all the coaches on that staff from the past that I played, currently now, because I know Select is still around. I don't know how much Wayne is involved with them at this moment, but I thank you, Wayne, for all the things you do. I thank all the coaches that helped me in this process, at the high school level, at the college level, because Wayne even helped me. When you get them letters, and I wanted the letters, now it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I know it's letters, but is it handwritten or was it typed up? Right. Oh, gee, that ain't real. Tennessee sent you that. That ain't nothing, bro. They send that to everybody. You get that handwritten one. Oh, that's the one we need to put over here, and know they got some interest in you. So little things, helping with the clearinghouse, helping with guys know that they need to have the right core classes, calling up the Willoughby and saying, rest in peace, my high school coach Reggie O'Brien. Calling Reggie O'Brien, hey, make sure Gomes has got these classes under his books before he starts off. Like little things that I didn't know. My mom didn't know. She was just going. She was going to work, like do well in school. I don't know what. So Wayne helped provide that knowledge and that those things that I'm sure myself and all the other kids probably needed if they didn't know.
For sure. Now let's jump back on to high school a little bit. So did you get a state chip?
No state chip, but I will give y'all the rundown. Y'all know my sophomore year, first round exit, Northwest Catholic, at Northwest Catholic. Brooks Sales, I said he was 6'8", he probably was 7 feet, so we lost that one. But then my junior year is where, like I said, well, I'll start off there, where my AAU game had made me more confident, because I was playing against the world when I was in Ohio, and just that whole summer. So when I come back to the city, I'm like, nothing against none of the players, but man, I'm playing against dude that's gonna be on TV tomorrow. Right. So when I come up in the gym now, I'm like, I've been killing dudes on the AAU circuit. So not no disrespect, but I'm going to get mine. We had a nice squad. If I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry, but we had a nice squad, and we end up going to the semifinals and playing at Branford High against Colby Cathedral. Colby Cathedral at the time had Marcus Cox, signed to UConn already, had Kevin Jeffries, who was a dynamic two-guard, and they had another wing player, I forget his name, but he was a lefty who can really shoot the ball. And we took him down to the wire. I think we lost that game maybe by 6 or 8. And, Marcus Cox had a decent game. Kevin Jeffries really controlled the game. He was a scorer. And, I played pretty well. Dimitri, he played well. We left it all out there, but we came up a little bit short. And if people don't know, Sacred Heart was in the semifinals at the same time, at the same gym, and they played against New London High School. So, and they ended up losing in the game after us. We played first, they played second.
Damn. So both NBL teams out.
Both NBL teams out, but that could have been, I don't know the history of when before two NBL teams was facing each other from the in the state tournament.
Yeah.
That was our chance to kind of maybe set history or rewrite it. And we both teams came up a little short.
Okay.
But so I got no state championship there, and then my senior year we came back, same team. We had a few young players on that team, and we lost in the quarters to Brian McMahon out of
I don't even know where
they're out of Bridgeport or down Trumbull area. So we lost to them, and they had the Terry brothers on their team, a point guard and a small forward. That was pretty good. It was tough. They were a little tougher than us, and they beat us. I think not that bad, but they beat us too. And that was my exit from Willoughby High School.
So what was what was the recruiting process like for you when you were at Willoughby? Because I know you got two different.
Yeah, when I was at after that junior year when I came back, I was on the radar a little bit from playing in the tournaments in AAU.
Yeah.
So then some schools will be coming in. I had the likes of Central coming in. Siena was coming to watch me play. So I didn't have the letters that I had after my senior year, but I had some noise was coming through, and I was just patient. Not like I thought Duke was coming to knock on my door, but it was just like no one was really just offering me. So I was just like, all right, I got another year. That was my junior year. I'm going back on the AAU scene. So then we go back on the AAU scene my junior year, and that's where we went to the Nationals and Wild Water Sports, the bubble where the NBA is playing right now. And Connecticut Select, we went all the way to the semifinals, and we lost there. But in those games when I was playing at the bubble, Krzyzewski was at the game. North Carolina was at the game. Maryland was at the game. UConn, Syracuse, Big East was at the game. Big 12 was at the game. We played against Gerald Wallace. He was Alabama Ice. We played against Westinghouse, who had they had two great guards on their team. I forget their names right now, but that's the team we lost to. And but that tournament, I made all tournament. I was first team all tournament at the Nationals. And that's when Providence and the other schools started to recruit me. So
this was before your prep school, even going to prep. So they was on you before you went to prep school.
On me before prep school.
Okay.
And I mean, it ain't nothing now, but Providence. My senior year after I left Willoughby, we played at Fairfield University.
Okay.
They loved me so much. They said, "Man, we want you to sign a letter right now." Sign a letter right now. And I was like, what? For real?
The head coach said that.
The assistant, Steve DeMayo. Shout out to Steve DeMayo. Shout out to Steve DeMayo. He's at St. John's right now on the staff. Hope you're doing well, Steve. So I was like, man, I started to think, and I was like, Providence, that's right up the road, bro. I mean, I'll be right into the town whenever I need to, and I'm in the Big East. I'm like, man, this is set. I'm like, this is like a no-brainer. But I had two other offers. Dayton Flyers. Oliver Purnell was the coach at the time at Dayton, and my point guard that was on Connecticut Select named Mark Jones, who's from Norwich, went to Norwich Freed Academy. He was already committed. He was already going there. Creighton University had Ismail Carroll, who I played against in the state tournament my junior year. He was a senior. He was already at Creighton, and Terrell Taylor, who's from Bridgeport, was at Creighton as well. So I took my visit to Dayton, and I took my visit to Creighton, and then of course I took my visit to Providence at the end.
So only 3 visits. Only took 3.
Only 3. Well, those are my 3 schools that I was in termination. I knew I had a point guard over there I played with, so I'm I get some buckets with him. Then I had 2 guys older than me, but I played with them because I was a year younger than them in the AU circuit. Wayne used to have me play up sometimes, so I built a great relationship with both of those guys. And then my mom was pregnant with my little brother, so the determining factor in my decision was my little brother. You know, my mom, I was already 18, and she started back over with my little bro, and I'm like, oh, Mom, you tripping, bro. I said, I'm about to be out the house in college. You about to start over? Right. I'm gone, bro. I'm gone. I'm going to Providence, but I'll be close enough to, I want to see my little brother. I want to be around my little brother, but I'm like, Ma, come on. So I don't know if a lot of people know that my decision ultimately came because my mom was pregnant with my little brother, and I wanted to be close. But when we really look, like if you was to read this in a book, you're like, well, if you look at Dayton and Creighton, I mean, that was his best offer at the same time too. But I'm local. If Creighton was up the street, I might have went to Creighton. You get what I'm saying? Providence was right there. My family could be there. I never was away. I grew up in the projects, always in Connecticut. The only time I traveled first time was really with Wayne to go at different states. Besides my grandmother living in Virginia, but that was just like bus ride down and back. It wasn't like I was sightseeing or anything like that. So that was the major factor of me going to Providence was my little brother, and DeMayo was on me right at that moment after my senior year. But like you said, I didn't get my SAT scores at the time, so it was like Providence didn't want to do the Prop 48 business. So I said, okay. It was like, well, you go to prep school, you get your score. We're gonna hold on you. We're gonna wait on you. Right. So I end up going to Notre Dame Prep in Fitchburg, Mass. Bill Barton, head coach. I go up there, but the trick to this is I go up there. I ain't go up there to play. I ain't played one game. Everybody look at any stats, any statistics.
You ain't hoop.
I ain't even hoop.
So school.
I ain't even hoop at the school.
No, right? You did just school. You just went to school.
I just went there for the SATs. That was it.
Damn.
I was there, and I didn't go. And people don't know this either. My wife currently now, Danielle Gomes, she's a year younger than me, so she was at Wilby her senior year. So after I finished AAU, after I graduated, I stayed here, and I was Wayne. Shout out to Wayne again. He was bringing me to take SAT prep classes, starting in November, so October. So I took SAT class, and I was doing prep class all September. Took it in October, didn't get it. I waited. I said, all right, December I'm gonna take the ACT. I didn't get it. Providence on the horn, like, look, you better hurry up and get that, bro. We got some people you're looking at or whatever. So I said, man, bump this. I'm going to Notre Dame. I went to Notre Dame. I was there January. I didn't take it in January. I just did all the classes, and I took it in February. Got my scores. Then I started to practice with the team. I didn't play, but I just practiced. Probably like get some shots up. But they didn't want me to be seen either by playing on Notre Dame because they wanted me to go there. So I didn't end up playing. Oh, wow. I don't say it was silly of me, but it worked out now. But I didn't play. I was just practicing up there. It was crazy. You ain't been to prep school in Notre Dame. It's real crazy. It's like, y'all, if you lose listening, it's one payphone. So when that phone rang, dudes just running to that phone.
Damn.
Like, oh, man, it's for Gomes, bro. Hang up. Or be like, hey, can you call back? I'm waiting on a call right now. So it was like, we have cell phones like that. So it was one of those things that, we was all fighting for the phone curfew and all that. But it helped me get prepared for college too at the same time, but I wasn't hooping. So when I got my score in March, I went right to Providence in May, and I started summer classes. Took 2 summer classes right there. So I was on campus May, before my official year started in September. I was taking classes in May.
Now, just to go back a little bit, I did a little bit of research, right? And I found out you were a pretty good pitcher. Did you play pitcher in high school?
No,
Bro, they lied to me.
Yeah, they lied to you. I didn't play.
Wikipedia said it.
Yeah, there might be another Gomes out there. Shout out to the major league player who was a pitcher in the major leagues with the last name Gomes. Shout out to you, bro. But I never played, and it will be. I never played in any sports. The only other sports I tried, I don't know who was the coach of Waterbury Knights. He might be like, yeah, okay. I tried to play football. They was practicing at Crosby. My mom was like, I want you to play football. This was I probably was in 8th grade. And then they was like, all right, first thing we're going to do is we running around the field like 6 times or something. I was like, oh, man, it's over for this. I'm not doing this. I'm out. They're like, you quitting already? I was like, I'm not running around this field with no pads and stuff on. I'm done, bro. I'm not doing this. So I didn't play any other sport, but in the in the confines of my friends playing at, going to Monto and just saying we're gonna play some baseball or playing tackle football in the yard or whatever. That was the only time I played any other sport. Basketball was the only sport I played.
Okay, cool. So now moving forward to Providence, what was how was that transition from not only basketball but just school and just the schoolwork from prep school or even from Wilby and then going into Providence where you got mandatory this, mandatory study, you taking all these courses. So how was that transition? Were you prepared?
No, I would say no. I wasn't prepared. Nothing against the people who taught me. But when you go into college, it's different. Your schedule's set. When you get on campus,
Especially
they already
student athletes.
Yeah, they already got your schedule set.
Right.
You going you miss a class, you ain't practicing. You miss it, you ain't playing. So it was different than when you were in high school. Probably at any level where dudes might not go to school. I think they changed the rule recently, but some dudes at Wilby didn't go to school, but we playing Holy Cross. They gonna be hooping.
Right.
So in college you had to change your mind. This is a serious business. You got to check off everything before you can even practice, and then you got to really check off everything before you can even play. So that was a change. But I think what helped me is it was me and my mom before. So I was getting up, and I know I had to go to school. I was getting up, and I had to go. My timing was more planned out because of what my mom's situation was when she was working. So I think that transitioned me a little easier to the scheduling, but to the work, no. Western civilization you have to take in Providence 2 years consistently. You can take your first 2 years. If you fail one of those, you got to take it your junior year. But before you graduate, you have to have passed Western Civ for 2 years. And that was the toughest class. Any kid that's going to Providence, just be prepared for Western civilization, where you're learning about all this stuff back in the day. And you got to remember this when you're writing essays for tests. It was over for that. And you got a swipe card, so it ain't no I was there. You got to swipe in. They got your ID if you was in class or not. So there was no running from that either. But at Providence, man, it started off I thought, for me coming from Wilby, averaging 27 and 13 as a senior, and probably the same as a junior. I'm coming to Providence. I'm just looking for 10 minutes a game. I'm just hopefully I get 10. I'm a freshman, so 10 minutes first year, 18 to 20 next year, 25 to 25 probably, and then senior year I probably am playing 30. But it didn't work that way. When I got to Providence, I started out practicing and stuff, and they just they kind of pushed me to the back burner because they felt other players was better than me and more equipped at the time. And I didn't play that whole year at prep school, so I don't know if they thought I was just I was focusing on school and I was just kind of lagged behind. So the first 7 games, first exhibition game, I'm in uniform, I'm in warm-up stuff. I'm I'm about to get a chance to play against these, not Harlem Globetrotters, but some of them older type of players. And I didn't get in. Second game, didn't get in. Third game, didn't get in. Fourth game, we not gonna dress.
This is out of conference, so this is good teams y'all playing against.
Yeah, we ain't playing against that. Well, we playing against some good teams, but we ain't playing against Texas's and all them. But we're playing against some good teams, and they just we're not gonna dress you at all this game. So I'm
damn.
I'm oh shoot. So next game they we not gonna dress you. Boom. They call Wayne, and Wayne say, Wayne, we think about redshirting him. They saying, gee, I don't know what's going on, but they thinking about redshirting me. And I'll never forget, I was in the room and I was crying bro, what? Redshirt? I ain't gonna play this whole season. I sat out last year. I'm about to sit out again. I said, you know what? I'm thinking about I think I might need to get out of here and transfer. That's what first thing that came to my mind.
Right.
But then I'm nah, I don't want to run from the smoke. I'm nah,
facts.
Forget it. Let's see. All right, watch this. So for the next 2 weeks, because we had a layoff in the games, for the next 2 weeks, I called my assistant coach, who I'm still real tight with, his name Bob Walsh. And I was I want to talk and see what is the best opportunity to show y'all that I'm ready to play.
Yeah, it's real.
So I had to do it was when they had them games that I wasn't sitting them 6, 7, and 8, or 5, 6, and 7. After shoot around, I'm in shoot around doing all the drill stuff. After shoot around, I'm staying after. I gotta run extra sprints. I gotta run 58s. I gotta run 22s, 11s, make 10 corner threes. 50 shots, make free throws, do the post up stuff, rebound. It was just kind of how bad do you want it, or more we want to see if we can light the fire in you, and you're gonna do something else. 5, 6, and 7, I don't play. 7th game, one of the guys get hurt, sprained his ankle. We in South Carolina. 8th game, they Gomes, we're gonna play you tomorrow. We're gonna be out there. I hope you're ready. I was man, I've been ready. I'm take this opportunity, first opportunity I get to play. I said, this is my chance. I ain't got nothing to lose. They ain't seen me play yet.
So the other team don't really know.
They don't know
scouting
nothing
either.
They don't got the scouting.
Okay.
but the players got to scout because in practice I was doing my thing.
Okay,
so
right. Your team.
My team.
Right.
So I come out. John Linehan's our point guard at the time. I think he's one of the career leaders in NCAA history in steals.
Damn.
But I'm playing. We're playing with those guys. I come off the bench, 15-8. Just at the end of the game, we 15. I get 15-8. We lose. I get 15-8. But South Carolina was a stepping stone for me. Ever since then, I'm not gonna jump all the way through, but ever since that first game, we went back. We played George Washington. I think first game back at Providence, and I started. And I started the rest of my career all 4 years since then. So I always use that when I tell people, like, the opportunity is what you make out of it, but you got to be ready for it. Because when that crack in the window open, you're going to have to bust that window open if you want to go ahead and show people what you got. So I did that, and the rest is kind of history from that start to all the way to the finish. But we can talk about, of course, in between. But I was glad that I got that opportunity, and I was prepared, and I prepared myself those 2 weeks before for that moment. Because if I would have hanged my hat and cried and said, I'm transferring anyway, I ain't going to practice, bro. I ain't telling them they ain't playing me anyway, which we all had that attitude. But I didn't let it really affect me. Something just said, we can't give in right now. And I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't give in at that time.
Word, man. So, freshman year, you have 14-8, right around there, would you say? Or?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, about 13.
Okay. So then you're prepping for a big sophomore season, right? So what was your focus and to improve your game individually, like the feedback you were getting, and also where did you train? Did you stay in Providence or did you come home?
Never came home.
Right.
I never came home. All them summers, every summer, I would stay at Providence and work out. But it was like it was the team. We all did that. No one left. We all just stayed up there, midnight basketball, working out. We just loved basketball. We wasn't like gonna be top 25 or anything like that, but we just wanted to be up there playing. So that's where the work came in, because at Wilby and out here, we just hooped. There was no practice. Like, not even practice. Reg, recipes Reg, Alex Sinclair was the coach. So it was just like, do some defensive slide, check up, let's go. We're going 5-on-5. So you didn't really learn the game. I didn't really learn the game at Wilby. And even with Wayne, as much as we went and traveled and I was able to get out there, we didn't practice.
Right.
It was just like, I hope you guys know how to play, and we'll just beat teams or, helter-skelter play, trapping, pressing, throw it in the post, you see a guy open. It wasn't like we had plays where we down 3. It's like, get it to Kendall and, come down and, get us a bucket. It was like that. It wasn't like, structured. So thinking back, that kind of could have been some of the reasons I didn't play in the first 8 games, because I wasn't play savvy. I wasn't, V-cut to get open. It was like, I'm open, throw it to me, dude, just run in front and steal it. Like, it was little things that I learned as I got older that could have hindered the reason why I wasn't playing, and not just me not being so much ready, but me not being so much ready at the same time. Thinking my numbers is going to show, but there's other talented players, and that's what I want to tell the kids. Like, you can be good right now.
Facts.
You can be the best right now on your team. When you get recruited and go to the next hoop, there's 9 other dudes that was the best on their team. So how do you show your game at the same time that the best players are showing their game? And can you fit that puzzle piece? And that's a big thing with going to any school. No matter where you go, it's like, can you fit that? And it ain't about me, and what I can do is about, everybody else. And don't be afraid that somebody won't challenge you too. Because you was best in Connecticut, but this dude was the best in Florida. Florida might have had better competition than Connecticut. So he probably is better than you. You got to face that fact, and you got to say, how do I change it to be better than him? If not right now, maybe next year.
All right. So then you go on for your sophomore season, kind of go to work the whole year, average about 18 and 10. So what was kind of like, your mentality? Was it, what was the shift going into your sophomore year? Was it like?
The shift was always, man, to prove anybody that ever said anything to prove them wrong. Even the coaching staff. So when I got the Providence, I got that first start. It was like, I'm gonna make y'all pay everything. Even though I'm on your team, we trying to win. I'm gonna make y'all believe that I always was this good. You know what I mean? So I used to always have that. Even in Connecticut, when I would play in high school, I would hear everybody, "Yo, G, don't play hard enough, bro. Hey, why you ain't dunking on them dudes, bro? You playing so lazy, bro." And I used to just be like, I'm playing my game. I don't think it's lazy. I think I'm just playing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just hooping. But that fueled me because I was missing something that everybody was seeing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'm playing and I'm happy to be but yo, we can see you might could be doing something else later on. But I wasn't taking that. I was just happy to be playing basketball.
Right.
Even when I was probably even averaging 18 as a sophomore, it wasn't like I was thinking like I'm gonna be a pro. I was just like, man, I'm just happy I'm out here playing, bro. I'm happy I'm just getting some buckets. But actually, when I was a freshman and I made all rookie team and it was Chris Thomas and all these guys, Hakeem Ward, all these guys, I was like, well, they're gonna be back next year, so I got to try to separate myself a little bit if I can.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like to get to the NBA. It was just like to keep wanting to improve. It was just keep wanting to try to get better and better and better. I made all rookie. I know they ain't all sophomore team, but maybe I can make all league.
Yeah.
So
so your sophomore year you made all Big East, right?
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think I made second team my sophomore year.
Okay. So and at that point, I know you said your mindset wasn't even on the NBA, but was people hitting it to you, or like it was Wayne, or your coaches? Nobody was saying. Okay. Nobody. So it wasn't even a projection at this point. Your sophomore year.
But I also was a big fan of the NBA, okay. So I know I'm playing. And at Providence, I played center. I don't know, when I started that freshman year, I was playing center.
Okay.
So I was 6'5", playing center.
Yeah.
We had a 6'9" dude on the team, but I was playing center. Maybe because I was a little heavier back then, and I was boxing people. I was a good rebounder. I was always a good rebounder. So I think that's what got me out there. But I always knew I was a big fan of the NBA, like 6'5", 6'6", power forward. I mean, if you ain't Charles Barkley, bro, it might not be working for you at the NBA. So it was realistic too. It was like, I ain't there. Some of my team was like, bro, you might got a shot. I'm like, I'm not even thinking about that.
Yeah,
There's so many players out there doing so many things. Paul Pierce, Antoine Walker, two of my favorite players growing up. And I'm like, bro, they out there cooking every night, bro. I'm not ready to be out there against them.
Word.
Because that wasn't my vision. It wasn't like I was playing to get to the NBA. I was playing because I just love to play.
Right.
When I came junior, that's when it changed for me.
Okay.
Sophomore, I was still like wet beyond ears. Like, bro, I'm just all league, bro. Second team. You know how big that is? Like my cousin Drew sending me all this. I'm like, nah, bro. I really don't. I'm just out here, just glad to be hooping, bro.
Right.
That's it. Scholarship, bro. That's it.
So was it that off season that sophomore to junior that you kind of turned up, or did you make changes in your game, your body, or what?
Body was number one.
Okay.
I was always lifting weights, but you was a freshman and sophomore. You get that card and you could go get
eat anything.
You could go get the patty melts and the curly fries every day after practice if you want.
Right.
I'm like, bro, I'm lit, bro. I'm eating anything I want to eat. I'm not thinking about like nutrition and all that. They give us a little $12 after the game. We staying on the road. We hitting McDonald's and putting all the money together, getting everything we can get, and eating everything. And that probably was right. They had that pasta and stuff, but after like 4 or 5 games, you don't want no red sauce and this regular salad, bro. I'm like, nah, I don't want this, bro. No, this is the best thing in nutrition.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, all right.
So who were the that your junior year? Who was the top guys at your position, or who you were like matched up against?
Hakeem Ward.
Okay.
Craig Smith.
Oh damn.
Sweetney was gone, but Sweetney was a problem. Sweetney was gone.
Michael Sweetney went to Georgetown.
Georgetown. He was there. My freshman year, I think freshman or sophomore year, Troy Murphy and Ryan Humphrey was at Notre Dame with Chris Thomas. Who else? Seton Hall had some players. St. John's was, they New York. They physical. They had a good team. So those were the guys that it was the Big East was tough, man. Every night you was playing to get UConn. I mean, can't forget about all the power forwards. Karan was there. I played against Karan when I was at Providence, Emeka, Villanueva, Rudy Gay, like all those guys. I was playing against. So the competition every night was like you got to be locked in. And the Big East at that time was more. It was point guards, and I wouldn't say like power forwards were the players. Not like the two guards inside. Troy Bell was out there. Marcus Hatton was out there. Like there was definitely some scores, but the battle between the younger guys, me, Craig Smith, Hakeem Ward, those was always the matchups that I had to be prepared for. Just because I know when they pulling that name out the hat, it's gonna be you or you. Yeah. So you want to have the advantage every time you matched up against somebody. I ain't win every time, but I left it all out there, and maybe Craig had 24 and 12, and I had 21 and 9, so it wasn't like a discrepancy that bad.
Right.
So that junior year, I changed my game to my eating right, and then the coach, I finally started to bring out that I can shoot and I can kind of handle the ball a little bit. But I think people who know me around here, I always can do that. Right. But I never really did that because if I'm eating on bucket, you can't stop that. I don't need to show you nothing else. But if you stop this, then I'm gonna show you something else. And that's what happened with me at Providence. I was so good in the paint that I had to start thinking of, all right, now I gotta start facing up and attacking instead of just trying to back dudes down. I ran up on Okafor in UConn my sophomore year, and he was whooping my shit, bro. He was blocking my shit every time. He might have blocked it like 7 times. And that's when it changed that I said, bro, I'm gonna kill this dude next time I see him. I'm not letting him block it. I guarantee he won't block my shot. Because it was like, oh, RG, yo, Mecca was whooping your shit, bro. And my teammates actually was like, yeah, you right. Watch what I got for him next game. So that was my focus, was always like, if I get him, then it's gonna be on for me. And I played well my sophomore year. I wasn't on the scene, but I played well. We beat him at Gamble.
Damn. And so everybody at the game, everybody from Waterbury.
Yeah, all my mom, my little brother he's like 4, he like whatever, he probably like 4 now, or 3, and it's like, okay, I'm showing out now, and I played well. And then my junior year come around, we ranked, coming in preseason, we ranked, and they like, oh, Ryan Gomes leading the Friars. So I was like, okay, I never read the stuff, but now it's like, okay, some attention's on me. I really got to step up to the plate, and I played the best. We played the best, and that was my best year, my junior year at Providence.
Okay.
And we beat some good teams. We played against some really good teams, and we was 12. We ended up being we was ranked 12 and 25. Highest rank was 12, top 25.
Okay, so you were ranked in the country.
Yeah, it was ranked in the country.
Oh, wow, okay. Now,
Pittsburgh was another team. Chevy Troutman, shout out to Chevy Troutman and Chris Taft. Those were some tough players I played against too in the Big East.
Now, okay, so now you get a little bit of recognition. Were there any? Were you on draft boards at this point, or were there any buzz at this point yet? Not from coaches, nobody yet.
Nobody.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Cool.
Until after that year when Jim Calhoun, I'll say it, like Jim Calhoun when we beat them at Gamble my junior year, I think that's when everybody said, man, I know he's a killer in Providence, but Calhoun had this rant. We got to look into this. We got to look into this kid. Yeah. And there were scouts at that game because I remember clear as day, they probably had like 15 scouts at the game because Okafor, Villanueva, Talik Brown, Ben Gordon, they had the crew.
Right.
So we had to come in there, and it's Connecticut, so it was always not like I was like, I'm going to get 30. It was just something when we came. It was like
that chip on your shoulder.
I gotta kind of play well, but it was just naturally too. It wasn't like you look at any of the box scores. It wasn't like I was shooting 25 times. It was 14, 16, 18 times and making 12 or 10. So I played within the game always, but my focus was to play well against Okafor from that sophomore year, my freshman year when he was blocking my shot. Like
was that the year where Jim Calhoun has that famous post-game conference?
Yes.
But what does Gomes do that just blows you away now that you maybe no one saw?
You only go throughout the country of the guys that came and didn't go. I'm a genius. I took Emeka Okafor at 100. It's the dumbest fucking question I've ever heard. I've explained it 1,000 times. I fucked up. I didn't take Ryan Gomes. Does that make you happy?
You fucked up.
Jesus Christ Almighty! It took 18 months to sell the kid to Providence. It's been written about. It's been talked about. Don't shake your fucking head. If you ask a question, I'm telling you how I feel about it. I took Emeka Okafor and Karan Butler. They're not bad. I can't take every player. We have 13 scholarships. When I saw him, he was 6'5", 265, 70 pounds. When he graduated, we took Karan. He then waited to get his SAT score in the spring. It took Wayne Simone 18 months to convince, and I believe is that a quote, I believe, by Tim Welch, to convince him to take the kid. Same thing Tim Welch saw, except we happened to get Emeka and they didn't, and we happened to get Karan and they didn't. But I'm tired of talking about it. Ryan. I've just said he's one of the best players sitting in our league, and starting to look like one of the best players in the country. I don't know what else I can say. And if you want me to say I fucked up, I fucked up. Write it. No, I mean, the question was asked. I posed it right off the bat. I gave Bill a slap, and he'll probably slap me later, which is just fine. That's part of the deal. But I answered the question. I don't know how else I can answer it. And you want to go deeper into it. You want me to say I fucked up? For the 5th time, I fucked up. All right, so put it 5 times.
That junior year was that was the one. They were ranked 4 in the country at the time, and we ran up in Hartford Civic Center and we got them. So, and then they gave him a lot of shit because they're like, how you let a Connecticut kid get away. Yeah. But I mean, he fabricated a lot, saying I was 280 or whatever. We took Wayne Simone to sell so many people Providence on me. But like I told you in the story already, I had Providence not in my pocket like that, but I had Providence already wanting to take me. So, I'm not saying they missed out because Karan, hell of a player, NBA champ, great things. Okafor, number 1 pick, number 2 pick, whatever he was. So it wasn't no mishap there on his part. I just think the state was like, man, we could have had another gem out of Connecticut playing for the university.
So, and how did who broke that news to you, and what feeling did you get when you heard because that's Calhoun, he's a legend. You know what I mean?
We got on the bus. Tim Welsh was the first one told us because we was playing at Harvard City. He said, "Man, y'all seen what Calhoun did?" Like he was talking to the coaching staff, and I was last on the bus because my family was in town. I came. He said, "Yeah." They came and said, "Man, you got Calhoun going crazy, RG." And I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "I'm just happy we got the win." But Dave Solomon, who passed away, was the writer at the time. Just asked the question maybe 2 or 3 times, and Calhoun was just tired of hearing it because they lost at home. They number 14 in the country. Right. So he probably just was aggravated and agitated that I gotta keep answering this question about this kid. Yeah,
and I'm sure that wasn't the first time he got it either.
No, I know it was. And then that sparked my junior year for people to be like, let me look at this kid. Yeah. Besides the NBA scouts being at the game.
Okay. Now, okay. So your junior year, did you guys make the tournament?
Tournament. We played against Pacific and St. Louis.
Okay.
And we was 12. We was a 5 seed. They was a 12 seed. We came out the game, we played well, but towards the end of that year, we lost a couple games that we shouldn't have lost. So we went into the tournament not really on our high horse. In the beginning of that year, we beat Illinois, D. Brown, Deron Williams, Lutherhead at the Garden. We lost to Texas at the buzzer. PJ Tucker hit a floater at the
Chris
horn.
Lofton?
Royal Ivy's on that team. Brian Mouton was on that team. James Thomas out of Albany was on that team as well. And we lost to them. That was a controversial game for us. We lost that game, but I got on. It was ESPN game, prime time. I think I had like 20 something and 12 or what. So I got some notice there. But then the end of the year we didn't play well, and we beat Virginia at Virginia. They had some Gary Forbes was on that team. They had some other players in that year. So I'm like, the writing's kind of there. Like, if I do well, we win this game, I could be maybe top 20. That's what I was thinking. I might be top 20. But when I realized the game of the NBA, I wouldn't have been. I wasn't that. I just, like I said, I go back to my height, my position. They wanted me. I should be a 3. I need to see more stuff on the perimeter. We know you gave you some as a junior. We need to see more. And in my mind, my mom always, since the beginning, just do well in school. Right. So I said, you know what? If it ain't guaranteed, I can't take the chance.
Okay, so before we get into that, I know you said you felt like your teammates felt like that pressure of getting on that next stage.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna help, yeah.
So, but for you, just in your head mentally, did you feel any like extra pressure that you had to perform more now that you were maybe on a little bit of draft boards, people were talking about you? Or was it, still had that same mentality?
Same mentality, because what I believed in at the time, and I still believe this now, my body of work was for 31 games. I did the same thing. I averaged, 21 and 9 for 21 games straight. Yeah, this game we want to win, I want to play well. If I lay an egg and I don't play as well or I play better, I don't know if that's just going to say, we drafting this kid. Because it ain't one game that's going to change anybody's situation. Your opportunity, yes, because the opportunity in South Carolina I got, but it led to so many more chances for me to show more. That one game in the NCAA, even though more people are watching because there's only 64 teams, I didn't have that in my mind that it was a pressure game. I had it in, I'm going to go out and play like I've been playing. Right. Because I had 31 games of doing the same thing. Right. Like, if I get 50, they're going to be like, oh, wow. If I get 19, they're going to be like, well, you're averaging 24. Like, he ain't that off. If you get 12, you're like, oh, he had an off night. How was the shooting percentage? How many rebounds he had? Like, they dissect that type of stuff when you get into the pro level. And I kind of knew that, and I just was like, I'm going to play my game. And I'm a junior. So I'm not the senior who's trying to, get more recognition. I'm like, I still got a chance at going back and redeeming myself or playing well to kind of get another chance at the NBA if it don't work out right.
Okay, so that season ends. You guys get eliminated out of the tournament, and what was the decision on, or who made that, or who helped you with that decision on returning to school, or was it like, were you 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of deal, or like were you focused on school or just focused like on the league? Like what was your mentality?
Nah, this is crazy, bro. When we lost that game in St. Louis, so you know in the NCAA tournament, you lose the next day, you out. There ain't no waiting on nothing. So we get back to Providence, and the seniors and some of the juniors is like, bro, RG, you out, bro. And I'm like, huh? They like, nah, you out, bro. You gone, bro. I was like, nah, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. I gotta stay locked in on, at school. They like, we on the plane. They like, man, I ain't going to class for about a week, bro.
For
I was like, I hear y'all. They're like, RG, I know you done, bro. You ain't going at all. I was like, and I swear, you could ask 5 of my teammates. I was like, nah, bro, I got class tomorrow, bro. I'm going. They're like, what? Bro, you about to go to the A, bro. You better not be going to class, bro. We going to breakfast off campus tomorrow. Boom, whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, all right, y'all, I'll see y'all. But I ain't do it. I still, like, something was like, I don't know what can turn out after this. I'm going to class. I'm going to finish this year out.
Right.
But I started working out still to go to combine. Because at the time, you put your name, you can test the waters. You put your name, I think you test the waters now still, but you put your name in, you got to a certain date if you're a junior, and you could take it out and go back to school.
Right.
So I wanted to test it because even though I had those great numbers, I knew that I'm gonna be playing a different position at the next level, and I don't know if I showed everything to be at that, to get drafted and be a guaranteed pick. So going there and running the shuttles, doing all the stuff, getting my timing and seeing like, compared to some of the other wing players or some of the other players, like where I fared at, and it wasn't, I played well on the court, but it wasn't, the attributes didn't line up like some of the other guys. And I was able to, take that and be like, okay. And I didn't take it as like I'm giving up. I was like, okay, I gotta go get better. All right, I'm gonna try to prove to the scouts and everybody else that next year I'm gonna be at that level.
Right.
So my head coach, of course, wanted me to come back. I was a primetime player. How things were gonna work out for us as a team. I could be a leader by myself because now I'm a senior. My other guys are gone, and that's when I, said I'm going back to school. And like I said, my mom still had a high influence because I started to think, if I get hurt, if anything tragic happens to me on the basketball court, if I get my degree, I can go get a job. But if I leave out my junior year, some people do it, but I don't know if I would have been that player to be like, I'm out, I don't get drafted, I'm going to go back and to get my degree.
Right.
I'm not going to say, mom's is out, I'm older now. I might be like, Mom, it's toast for that. I'm not doing that. So I thought about all those things, and I said, you know what, I'm going back.
Right.
And that's why I made my decision to go back and
No,
go my senior year.
I think that's a very wise decision. And also, like you said, you had the ability to come back. Everybody wanted you to come back, but what was the feedback you were getting that off season from scouts, from general managers,
So,
NBA?
yeah, I forgot to even say this. So that junior year when I left, I started working out with my trainer, who was my trainer and still a good friend, Rob McClanahan. But once in Providence, I was working out with him. But then when I said, I'm going to test the waters, I went to Chicago, did the pre-draft, did all that, and then it still was like 2 or 3 weeks. So I worked out for 3 teams. The Bulls had 3 picks, the Jazz had 3 picks, and the Celtics had 3 picks. This is my junior year. So I went and worked out for those guys. And I was in the workout with Tony Allen in Chicago. And when I was up in Utah, I want to say I was with Kurt Snyder, who went to the University of Nevada. And I think he ended up getting drafted by Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And then I went to Boston because the local kid, I'm in Providence, they got 3 picks. I'm driving to Boston. It's a workout. So I worked out for those 3 teams. Solid feedback, but not. And they're not guaranteeing nobody, at least that I know, like when you go into the workout. But it wasn't like I didn't feel like I got a really chance to get drafted by one of these teams. But they had the most picks, so I got to go to the teams that got the most selections because maybe I can fit one of those slots. But the feedback was, need more stuff on the perimeter. He's only 6'6". He's going to be guarding the guys on the wing. Can he guard those guys? He's great footwork, great around the rim, could rebounds, but in the NBA is bigger guys around the rim. I don't know if he's going to be that much of a factor. So all those things I listened to, and I knew kind of myself, but I got to hear it from hear it from the pros and the the scouts, and I was like, you know what, this is the right decision. I got to go back. Yeah. And I was able to, I went back, and we weren't able to, get back to the NCAA tournament. It was a young team. I was a senior. We had one other senior, and then we had a bunch of young guys on the team and a couple juniors. And I led them as best as I can. I want to say I led the Biggies in scoring my senior year, if I'm not mistaken. And, I showed all those things that they had question marks about my senior year. So I take it as it was the best decision. And I got my degree, so it was the best decision for me to go back to get that and to polish up on my game for the things that they said I didn't have or I needed to work on. And that's why I went back, and because I was the first person in my family to get my degree, and I wanted to leave some type of mark on the youth in my family to kind of at least set the example. And if you have that, you can achieve that. I'm not saying everybody got to follow everything, but I want to let them know it can happen for you. And that's what that was a lot of things. I think that was one of the major things, because I wanted to leave the imprint. I ain't just running and chase after nothing, because I don't know if that other thing is guaranteed. So I want to get what I know I can control, and that's getting my degree.
That's real, man, because I think a lot of people don't know that story. A lot of people don't know why you went back your fourth year. Everybody says Gomes stayed his third year, even top, first round, but obviously coming from the person himself, it makes sense.
Yeah, but I understand that. I tell my friends and people I know, barbershop talk, like you say, is like, Andrew, you should have left, bro. You tripping. All-American, bro. And I like, you right. You guys got a good point. You guys got a good point.
That's tough as a junior.
Yeah, but this is what I try, even when I'm working out kids, it's like, you could be the man in middle school. And like we said in the middle, you could be the man in middle school. You go to high school, it's a different ball game. There's a lot of other better players. You go to the NBA, oh man, they only selecting the best of the best. And even though I was one of the top 5 in college, I still didn't think I was equipped to be one of the best players in the NBA yet, or even be at that level. No knock on myself, but if they telling me your game ain't there, well, I'm just gonna say I'm putting my name in the hat, and the scouts is telling you you ain't ready. That would be just foolish of the person, in my opinion. Unless agents or whatever got a guarantee for you, that's different. I didn't have any of that. I was still, wet behind the ears, really doing that. And Wayne Simone, again, because he's been in my life up until, past that point. But at that time, he thought it might have been the best decision for me to go to, but he understood that, I was going back to get my degree. But he was more upset that feeling like the coaching staff and everybody else just wanted me to go back for them.
Right. And it be like that.
And it does be like that. Yeah. And it could have been like that. My coach never said it, but it could have been like that.
Right.
And who am I to say he can't look out for himself, but I still got to make the decision what's the best, smartest decision for me, because I only can control me. He can control what he can say to me, but he can't control my decision. So I knew, looking at the writing, NBA wasn't right now, because they're telling me it's not right now. And my numbers compared to other people, Tony Bobbitt, who went to Cincinnati, he was on my team at Chicago, killing. But he was like my height, and he was on the wing. I looked at that like, bro, I ain't gonna be doing. I'm guarding Paul Pierce and these cats just before I got to Celtics. But I'm like, I'm used to just bodying up dudes, Michael Sweeten and the dudes on the paint. I don't know when dudes coming off handoffs and ISOs and just pulling up on you. Like I didn't have to do that at Providence. I didn't have to guard no perimeter players. I was just like, get the rebound, box out, run the floor, get some early post position, score. So I knew the game, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to, play so long and, get drafted, was more of my IQ of the game and not just of, falling in love with statistical part of who you are as a player.
So post college, what was your process like getting an agent?
Wayne Simone had a lot to do with that. When I went out as my senior year, after I finished at Providence, we went out. I was coming to the draft. I was still working on my guy Rob McClanahan, and I interviewed a bunch of agents. Like they came to Waterbury.
Oh, word.
Yeah, sit downs at Nardelli. Some of the top agents that are out there came, and I was trying to get, because my mindset was, you go with the powerhouse people.
Right.
You're gonna be able to. They might be able to pull some strings, and you might get signed to a team because of the clients they have, or just the respect they have.
And that's the thing about the agency, the agency game that people don't realize. Like, I've been in Europe, and you know, a guy, you know, an agent may represent the coach that may represent the point guard on the team.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, a lot of that happens a lot. You know, agents kind of controlled. I mean, if you look at the Lakers, Clutch,
yes,
Rob Pelinka, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
they got a lot going on.
Yeah,
the agents control the game. Sometimes the agents are more powerful than the GMs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they can dictate that talent, and they can. I mean, their talent can overpower and help that brand of the team more.
Right.
So they got to make that decision on helping that brand of the team as well. And you know, the agent game is a tricky game, and you know, you hear this all the time. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and that's a big thing in anything, and just life. You know, you want to open up something, you might got the best ideas, but who do you know that can put that in place for you and get you that building that you want to build that thing in? Right. It ain't just because you know what you know is going to be the best idea. It's like who can help you get that. So my thought was to interview those guys and do that. But then Wayne had made a great point. Is like you don't have to get a high power agent. You can get an agent, because if you get drafted in the second round, which I was able to, well, if you got drafted in the first round, first round. If you get drafted in the first round, you're slotted to make this much. So you need an agent because you need to read the paperwork and you need endorsements and all that other stuff. But if you look and you can be the number one pick, you can already go online right now and see how much I'm about to get paid.
Right.
You need an agent, but you can see. So, if you're that player, do you need him? Yes. But you're kind of in control because you're about to be. I'm not want to speak for LaMelo or Anthony Edwards or James Wiseman, but people gonna want them. I don't care who they sign with, but they the hot commodity. They the hot commodity. Right. Every year there's a hot commodity in the draft. Football, baseball, NHL, basketball. It's the same thing. So you want it. That player sometimes has not more leverage, but they got to know their worth. Mm-hmm. You got to know your worth. Yeah. And at that time, for me, I was All-American the year before. I averaged 21, blah, blah, blah. But it still wasn't like the senior. At that time, it was like seniors got a lot of miles on them, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, facts.
Seniors got a lot of miles on them. The NBA people like, we might have to go get that freshman that's throwing his name. He a little bit unpolished, but we could form him to what we want him to be. Yeah. So, I kind of processed all that type of stuff, but I was already in the fire. I was already out of college, so it's like, let's see what's going to happen.
Right. Now, how many NBA workouts did you have? Do you remember?
Man. I had 21. Wow. I said, we was talking about 21 Savage early, but I think I had 21 workouts, bro. I'm not, I worked out for every team. Remember, the year before, I worked out for Boston, Utah, and Chicago. So my senior year, I didn't go work out for them. Not like, it was like, forget them. Boston I did because, once again, they're right there. And a good thing I did because they was a team that ended up drafting me. But I worked out for all the other teams. I was in Phoenix. I was in Houston. I was in Philly. I was in Charlotte. And this was like, get the schedule. When I got the schedule, it was like, all right, Monday you're in Philly. Then right after the workout, they're gonna bring you to the airport. Then you going right to Charlotte. You're gonna get in the hotel, get some food. Tomorrow morning you're gonna work out with Charlotte. Then you got a day off. You ain't going back to Connecticut, but we'll give you extra night in Charlotte, and you're gonna fly to Houston. So it was like I was working out not every day, but maybe 2 days in a row, day off, 3 days in a row, 2 days off, 1 day off. Like I worked out for every team because now it's like I gotta exert myself. I have to exhaust myself because this is my last chance.
Right.
Technically, it's really not, but the way at that time I was construed, it was like, this is my only chance. I gotta go to everyone and see everyone. I averaged 21. I mean, come on, I gotta go in these workouts and work out against some of those guys who's on the board? Oh, they got him going 15. I need to go in and work out. I need to be in a workout with him.
Yeah.
I really ain't got too much. I don't really got too much to lose. If I outplay him, even though one thing doesn't change, but it might just get their focus. Like, shoot, second round pick, we might get this guy. Yeah. So that's what I always thought. Like, I might outdo someone, but I was a senior and I knew miles on seniors' bodies was one of the things that was hindering me. But I also think if I was to go and play against and perform against these workouts against some of these kids, I might just show that I ain't got so many miles. I didn't play the first 8 games of my career. I didn't start basketball until a freshman in high school. So all these things is in my mind, like, not that like a 5th grader right now is gonna have more miles later on, but I got into the game late in the youth. So I felt like I still had, some spunk, and they just was looking at, this kid might have been playing since he was 10 years old, and but it wasn't that for me. It wasn't the case for me. I didn't start playing until 8th grade, really.
So do you remember, if you can remember, what was your best pre-draft workout that stood out in your mind? You
Phoenix,
like,
bro.
Damn, I cooked.
Phoenix.
Okay.
I felt like I couldn't miss. And they had I forgot who the coach was. I mean, GM was Rex Chapman, I think, at the time. And they was like, man, we would love to have you on our team, bro. Indiana, I had a great workout in Indiana. So those are probably my two best workouts, was Indiana and Phoenix. So, I'm thinking like, I might get to Phoenix. So, that's what I was thinking, because, we had a good talk. I felt like when I was in a meeting with them, it was longer than everybody else.
Right.
I was looking at that, compared to when I was in other meetings with other teams after the workout. I was like, they really trying to get to know me, and I was like, man, this might be the place.
Yeah.
So that was my best workout, was Phoenix.
Okay. Now, draft day. What was, I know that's like the dream, what I mean? But like, having that experience, was it, everything you thought it would be, or like, who were you surrounded by? Where were you? Just things like that.
Okay. My draft, I had a draft. I try to throw a draft party, which everybody does.
Okay. Where was it? Waterbury?
Waterbury.
Okay.
I was down here. I was at the Marriott, not the Marriott. It's not there no more, but the hotel that was right across from Waterbury Hospital.
Okay.
I mean, right downtown, right across from Sacred Heart's gym. The hotel that was right there, on the backside to the right. I had an event there. Everybody came out, family members, friends, everybody. So we, boom, pop on the draft. I'm like, okay. I had a good workout with this team, that team. Boston, I think, had 2 picks in the first round. No, they had 1 in the first round. The Knicks, I think, had 2. So I'm like, Knicks was at 30. Knicks was the last pick of the first round. And I'm like, the guarantee, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, so you can kind of have some time to, acclimate yourself, get better, was the first round. I knew that the year before. So my goal was like first round. I want to get selected first round. We get to 30, bro. They take David Lee. I'm like, oh man, this is good, right? So 31, 32, 31, Lou Williams, 31 and 32, Lou Williams. So I'm like, because the way Wayne taught it to me and the agent taught me, like, the first, probably like the first 5 or 6 in the second round, it's almost like you're in the first round, you probably can get a guarantee out of that. So I'm like, man, hopefully I get in that mix. And I had all the people I worked out jot down, so I was looking to see, like, all right, they took a small forward or power forward, might not take another one in the second round, or they took a point guard, so maybe I got a chance here because I had a good workout here against this dude, and this dude just went 3 picks before or whatever, so I had it kind of calculated in my head. But then we went to like 42, 43,
Damn.
44.
Wait, what's going on in your mind right now, though? You like, I'm
tight.
off this.
I'm so tight. I'm like, why'd I even throw this stupid ass party?
Right.
I'm like, man, this shit is weak right now. So I'm over there chilling. Everybody's like, it's okay. It's gonna be all right. It's coming. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm like, all right, cool. 46, 47, 48. I'm like, everybody here in the lobby just, talking and sitting down, waiting, watching. I'm like, I'm going, bro. I'm out. I'm leaving. So I leave. I go outside in the parking lot. A few people like, yo, it's gonna be all right. What's wrong, bro? I'm like, oh, this shit weak, bro. I was killing. Like, I felt like, I did great in the workouts, 4 years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then I'm in the parking lot talking to a few of my boys, and I think my mom or my wife was there, and thank you, and I was like, I see everybody like jumping up, going crazy, like, yeah, you just got drafted. You drafted by the Celtics, whoop de whoop. I'm like, bro, I'm tight, bro. I'm tight. I don't even care, bro. Like, nah, I don't care, but I was like, bro, I'm tight, man. I'm saying, like, nah, Boston, man, it's right up the road. I'm like, yeah, story franchise and all that. But I should have been a lot for the first round, because in my mind, I'm thinking I want the guarantee, of course, because the guarantee, I don't solidify you as nothing, but your work that you put in the previous years, you kind of getting compensated for that because you got the guarantee. So I'm like, that's how I'm thinking. So everybody excited, and then I'm not excited. I go back inside, I thank everybody for coming. We still finish the draft out, and then, as soon as they draft me, though, Danny Ainge calls me, like, Rod, we're so happy to have you. Just want you to know, like, we were so close to taking you in the first round, but, the situation when Gerald Green dropped, he was supposed to be top 3 or whatever, he dropped down, like, we had to take him. And that's when you're listening to the way that things play out. Right. It's out of your control, and it's like they're a franchise.
Yeah.
They gotta make the best decision for the franchise.
Right.
You can't be, we can't be selfish and feel like, man, why all these other teams didn't take me? You can because you're mad because you put in that work, but at the same time, I kind of understood. Like I was like, that's when I understood how things play out. But I was excited. Of course, they're like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. We're having a press conference. All this. I'm like,
so you
okay,
go straight
cool.
to Boston. You drive to Boston.
I'm in Boston. Me and my cousin Andrew, my cousin Drew Barbosa. Me, him, wifey. We drive up.
Bro. That's dope.
Right, we drive up. It's gonna kill y'all, bro. It's gonna blow y'all mind. We drive up. I'm there. We get there. We got the interview. We got the press conference and stuff. Joe Green, he's supposed to be lottery and all that. He got a suit on. I forgot who else was in our draft class at the same. I think Alan Ray. I think we drafted Alan Ray. Will Bynum. Will Bynum was in our. Okay. Will Bynum, I think was part of our draft, unless we picked him up later. But I'm tight, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all right now to this day. I'm mad that I'm second round pick. So I go up there. I'm wearing some jeans, and I got a T-shirt on, and it's a G-Unit T-shirt.
Oh damn!
Big time G-Unit in the back. Then on the front it say "Get Rich or Die Trying." Right? And that's but see, this is where I want to talk to people and be like, I wasn't there where I gotta know like I'm about to be a pro.
Right, business.
Like I gotta come like when you had to go to your banquets at the end of the year at Providence or wherever, where you ain't gotta put a whole suit on, but you gotta put a shirt and tie on and some nice pants, and you go up. It's like a job interview. Even though you got the job, you still gotta. Yeah. They got you the job over the phone. You pulling up like first impression.
Damn.
But I don't know. In my mind, I'm just like, that's my motto today. That's what I'm on right now. Because I feel like I was better and I should have been drafted higher. So it's
50
like
mentality.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? 50 was on the scene and I was listening to 50 every game in Providence. Every game I was listening to the mixtapes. Shout out to Devon Parker who was giving me all the CDs. Cousin Drew, Brett from downtown and downtown Waterbury, Uptown Records. I'm giving shout outs, to everybody, man, because all those things, when you say the influence, all those things play a part in everyone's story. It ain't just one person that did something. It's everybody who could help mold you as a person. Like that's how I feel, and that's why I still remember all those people who was in my corner, who gave me any negative energy that helped fuel the positive energy that I wanted to put back out there. Like I appreciate all that. I appreciated all that. So that was my motto going up there. But when I got there, it was like, all right, go home, enjoy. Go enjoy the weekend. We back up here next week working out. So it's like, okay, I gotta still prove myself because I don't got no guarantee. I don't got nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. What's as a second round rookie like? What's their contract?
No, it was nothing. They own your rights. Damn. Of course, and then you practicing with them, and then it's summer league. So you kind of get your stripes or your contract, based on your play. They probably negotiating behind the scenes. You don't know, but you still performing. Like you got drafted, but draft don't mean you signed a deal right then and there. Right. I wasn't Gerald Green. Gerald Green, signed. He was penciled in because he knew what his position was 17, whatever pick he was 17. He slotted to make this. He can get a 2-year deal, maybe team option on the 3rd year, whatever. I didn't have that, so I was behind the 8 ball kind of, because going into the team there might be 2 roster spots every year, even this draft right here, because you look at some of these teams, they got great young players, and they can't just keep adding people and just pushing the good players out, and then you need vets, you need specialists. So it ain't just like, okay, I'm gonna get drafted next year because I averaged 28. Like, it don't work that way. So going to summer league, it was like, here go that first impression, bro. You got to go out here.
Where's summer league at?
Vegas.
Okay.
So we in Vegas, and I'm out there playing with the likes of Tony Allen, Al Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins, Delonte West is on our team. So we got and they played the year before because they was drafted the year before me. Gerald Green's on the team, of course, because we got drafted at the same time. And summer league, I reminisce, and I watched a few games like the other day when I was playing in the summer league, like maybe a few months ago. But that's where, I had to. It was like AAU again. Okay. It was like, you know what? Everyone out here fighting for now the scholarship now, and fighting out here for to get this contract. Right. So I was like, man, I'm gonna go out here and play. But it was new, running plays and all that stuff, doing that stuff. I knew that now, so I was like, I got an opportunity. I played well in summer league. I'm not sure. I think I made all rookie summer league that year.
You did, yeah.
So once I made
That's
that,
big. As
Yeah.
a second round rookie.
yeah,
That's huge.
that was huge, and that was huge for me because it was like this is what I came for. That
Right.
get rich die trying shirt stood out for me. You know, so I was like, you know what, bet. All right, I'm here. I kind of arrived. So after I made that, that's when I got my contract.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I was the first, but I was one of the first second round picks to get a 3-year
Oh damn.
contract,
Guaranteed or what?
guaranteed.
Wow.
So I got a 3-year deal guaranteed.
So that's almost better
Boston.
than some of the, I mean, not the money, but some of the first
Yeah.
rounders.
Because I always tell people, you want the years or you want the money.
Right.
I'm taking the years all day.
Facts. Facts.
Because I can keep getting better and incentivized instead of getting it right here and there and
Right.
wash away. If I don't have 2 good years,
That's
I might
true.
be toast. So I always told myself, I want years over the money. Give me the years because longevity is better than just having a quick flash,
Facts.
making fries in the pan and that's it.
Facts.
So I was happy with that, and then I get to Boston. Now summer league's over with. We going back. Now we going to the real deal.
So who are your vets now? Now you're going into the season. Who are your vets like?
Paulie, the truth.
Okay.
Paulie
Now,
D.
did you have to do any like rookie duties or anything like that?
Yeah, Paul's funny, bro. I'm a senior though, but I'm like, no knock on nobody else. Rookie is your title, but I'm like, bro, Gerald Green is like a real rookie, bro. I played 4 years of college. I ain't holding no bags, grabbing no sneakers, and doing all that. I ain't doing that. You know, I had to do it a few times,
right, for sure.
but I was off it. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I was off it. I'm like, come on, bro. We all grown here, bro. We got the equipment guys. Like, you just want me to hold your bag to just say I'm holding your bag, like carry my bag to the room, Rook. It's like, come on, bro. I have wifey on some trips. Like, yo, Rook.
Damn.
I don't care, bro. Grab my shit. You know, like, all right, got you. And I'll never forget. We was in Washington. I had like one of the best games of my rookie year. I might have had like 28 and 12 or something like that. And we won the game. I think I hit not the game winner, but maybe one of the shots to take us to the league, and then we pulled away. And he was like, you know what, Rook, I don't care. I know you had a good game and all that, and you got your wifey on the trip, but you still a rookie. And I was just like, and she was on the bus. She's like, I know you ain't gonna be holding nobody's bags, bro. I know you ain't gonna be carrying nobody's sneakers anymore.
You know how wife you get.
I was like, no, you just keep it down. I gotta do this. Keep it down. You just was killing. Like, they make you do that even though he's. I'm like, yeah, that's the truth. He the captain. We got Ricky Davis on the team.
Ooh.
We got Ray France on the team. They wasn't on none of that, but they was on the squad. But P was the man, and he was a player I looked up to as well as a young player. So even when I first practiced, like, I was more like,
Damn.
and I was getting cooked. It was just ill. So I had to, you know, of course I'm paying homage, but at the same time I'm more starstruck when I'm at practice and playing against these dudes. And like I said, now I'm officially a 3-man.
Okay.
That's when it kind of changed. Like, I'm guarding Paul. It ain't no guarding Big Al and Kendrick Perkins. I'm guarding, you know, P coming off down screens, coming off floppies, and I can't chase him. I'm not on his hip. He just getting bugged, pump fake, set this high pump fake again, run to and 1-3, take that with you. Like, all that type of stuff.
Damn.
So practices was very intense. And for those who don't know, the first game of the season with the Celtics, we played the New York Knicks 2005. I was the first guy off the bench.
Oh,
I was
wow.
6 man that game. Well, that game. I was 6 man off the bench. But then, right after that game, for about the next 38 games, I don't even play.
Damn.
I
But-
don't even play.
Okay.
So it's one of those things, like, I'm in the NBA. I'm not like, I came from Providence, I should be out here. It's more like, man, like, not humble yourself, but it was like, man, you know, you see, like, these dudes is really getting it in. Like,
Right.
the practices, you know, helped me get more, you know, in tune. And then I want to say Big Al Jefferson had, he sprained his ankle, like, pretty bad, so he's going to be out a couple weeks. Doc Rivers says, I think it was like 39th, 40th game, playing against Zach Randolph, Portland, in Boston. He like, Gomes, we're going to start you tomorrow. I was like, oh shit, man, I was going from playing like the last 35 games, so now I'm starting. So I get out there and I start, I play well, you know, maybe I ain't have a double-double, maybe I had like 10 and 6, 10 and 8 or something like that. And then, almost like Providence, I started the rest of my rookie year, and then the whole second year at Boston, I was a starter. So, and then the rest of my career, pretty much until I got to the Clippers, where things kind of drifted off. I started 7 straight seasons at the power forward or small forward in the league. So, you know, changing positions was an adjustment for me, but the opportunity came, and I was able to, you know, play well. and make all rookie as a rookie in the NBA, not summer league, but
right.
in the real midst of everything, I was able to make all rookie. So that's where it was like, I'm out here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get some stripes from my peers because I showed that I can play at this level, and then I was able to do well in my second year. And then if you want to continue, we'll continue on unless you got something else.
No, yeah. So what was your welcome to the NBA moment? Like where somebody just cooked you or dunked on you or like embarrassed you? Anything that stands out?
Everything. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, just like everything, like just being able to touch that court and be out there with Allen Iverson.
Oh yeah, damn.
Like Gilbert Arenas, Shaq, Kobe, rest in peace. Like that was it. And I was a rookie, so I was still kind of like, even though it's competition, you gotta have a competitor. I was still just on some like, damn, I was at Wilby, bro. I was about to be a redshirt at Providence. I'm just like, I'm thankful to just touch the court, you guys. But I was still like in awe, like like just wow, and not really like you need to start making a name for yourself now. I was still just surprised that it all came to fruition,
right.
And it wasn't like planned for me to like I wasn't my dream until I was a junior in college to be like I really got a chance to make it to the NBA.
Damn.
So that's it. My goal was college only, bro. After that, whatever came was I was thankful for. But when I got that opportunity, it's like I might could get 5 years out of this,
right.
And I was able to get 8. So
And then you played did another year of summer league, right?
Yep. Then the second year I come back to summer league.
Why? Like after getting all rookie, like
I know Doc. Doc and the staff just wanted me to go out there. Just polish up on your game a little bit more. But in that we played like 8 games. I played like the first 4, and then I ain't played. And I didn't play no more. We was smoking teams, and we had some other rookies. So I didn't play the last part. I was out there, but we practiced every day. But we just didn't really play in the games. So and I think I made all league second year too at Vegas as well because I was better than I was the year before. So coming in the next year, I didn't know I was going to start, but it was like Doc said you're going to start at the 4, and I was like okay, we going not small, but we had Big Al at the 5, and then we would go Perk at the 5 sometime, and I was just out there because I think of my work ethic. I was fronting a lot of dudes in the post. I was just getting a lot of steals in the post, and then I was able to hit the little midi jumper because I was playing the 4 at the time. I was able to hit that midi jumper, so it's like good thing in Providence my senior year. When I think back, like I worked on them shots instead of being like trying to be back to the basket against a Zach Randolph or any of those Amari Stoudemire, any of those big time, real power forwards.
You got to face them up.
Yeah, so I had to face him out. I was able to make some shots, and it doesn't hurt when you have the truth on your team where he's creating attention, and you'll be in that spot, young fella. Bounce pass on the pick and roll, pick and pop, jumper. Bounce pass again. Oh, Zach Randolph. Take one dribble, get in the lane. Oh, kick it back out. So it was things that I was learning that this is how I can play in this league. This is how I can kind of stay if I just keep polishing up on these things.
And so I know you had a bunch of really good games. You had a really good year that second, your second year in Boston, averaged around 12, 6, and 2. Had you remember the game you had a triple double?
Yeah, You see, I don't listen.
You're not gonna forget anything.
And you know what, man? Because it's not one of these things, but it is one of these things where you don't want to always pat yourself on the back, of course, because you want other people to, like you said, we gave wings flowers. You want other people to give you, that type of respect. But at the same time, when you accomplish something, you're gonna remember what you accomplished. And how I always think about that is, I told y'all my sophomore year, Okafor was blocking my shot and doing all this.
Snap! So Okafor played.
And Okafor was on Charlotte. Ooh. That game I had the triple double.
Okay.
So it's just like I don't know what destiny, whatever whatever it was, but it's like, and at that time, bro, to be in the Celtics history books, to have a triple double with the likes of the Kuzis, I know Rondo's not right under Kuzi, but the Dennis Johnsons, the Rondos, Paul Pierce, the Antoine Walkers, like. That's something I ain't gonna never forget because as a rookie, I did that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. My sophomore year. Sorry, my sophomore year I did that, and it's one of those things where it's like, I ain't had a triple double in high school. Like I don't think I had a triple double. I ain't had one in college. So it's just like NBA triple double.
Yeah,
I'm running with that. Yeah. And right after the game, well, not right after the game. Well, of course, everybody happy, but like
did you guys celebrate or what? Like.
Yeah, they celebrated congrats young fella, blah blah blah, and then they gave me they took that ball from that game.
Okay.
And they put all the green and white, 34th player to have a triple double in Celtic history, 10, 10, 12, whatever, date, Charlotte, all that. So, something that I still remember because I have that memory with that basketball.
Now, two other games that stood out, that sophomore year for you, having 31 against the Wizards.
That's the one where Paul made me, when Wifey was there, and made me get that.
Oh, okay. And then...
So that game really, it was like, humble yourself, bro.
right.
Grab my shit, bro.
But then the 17 and 21 against
Portland.
Timberwolves.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah. Now we're gonna bring that. Bring that back into the fold.
So then, do you think that, because then you got traded after that year? So then, was that game, like, looking back? Do you think like that was kind of like Gomes just cooked us? You know what I mean? Like,
I think kind of. I think it's one of those things where the pieces had to match up. KG was gonna get traded. I forgot. It wasn't just Boston. It was someone else who really wanted him. But for us in Boston, all of us, like, we were young. It was my second year in, just finished Gerald Green's second year. Big Al Jefferson, he was a promising and rising, power forward at the time. At the time, he was beasting in Minnesota when he was there too, so it's not like he fell off. Sebastian Telfair, young guard, was a lottery pick. And we also had Theo Ratliff, who was part of that trade, who came with us to Minnesota. So,
did you know beforehand you was gonna like?
Oh yes, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you the story about that. So it was. I think Boston had the pieces to give Minnesota where Minnesota felt like they had a cornerstone in Al. We traded power forward. He ain't KG, but we traded a young stud for not an old stud, but an older vet. Mm-hmm. So we got someone to build around, and then we got some young, nice pieces. Gomes was a starter. Sebastian was an on and off starter at the time. Gerald Green was still, he was a high schooler, but he had so much upside, and he played great throughout his career in the NBA. So I think they looked at that as Boston has the best package. But when we look at that game, I don't know what everyone else did, but and I do know this, so I'm going to go to the story. I'm in Boston. I'm in New Hampshire. Me, Brian Scalabrine, we're doing something for the Celtics. They have some camp where we go out. We already been committed. We're going to go. And we're up there, working with the kids, doing stuff with the kids. We stayed the night and all that stuff. So Scalabrine comes to me. He like, Gomes, bro, we about to get KG. Oh my God. I'm like, what? We about to get Garnett? And we making a trade, but don't worry, you not in the trade. Like, I'm not in the trade, you're not in the trade. It's supposed to be this person, that person, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, bro, we about to get KG. I ain't calling nobody in, but I'm like, man, I'm about to be playing with KG. I love KG, his energy, the way he played, his tenacity. So I was a big fan of him as a young player as well. And then as the night went on, they I'm hearing like, man, the trade ain't going down. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. They're like, man, if Gomes is not in the trade, there ain't gonna be no trade. We don't want whoever the other player was, or two players, or the pick, or whatever. Now we want Gomes in the trade in order for this to go through with Minnesota. And Danny Ainge called me and was like, we tried to work the deal so many ways because we know we love your value, we love what you bring to our team. But the only way this was gonna go down is if you were thrown in the deal. And I'm like, shit. I tell them, I swear, I tell them every time I see him now. I say, y'all owe me a ring, bro. I should have stopped that deal, bro.
Right.
Or y'all should have did something else so I could have got a ring, because that same year when I was traded, they won it. They won it in 2008.
Yeah.
So, but how I look at things is, of course I want the ring. Of course I could have maybe been there 7 years after that. I don't know, but I really got my name when I went to Minnesota, because I was able to be a starter. I was starting in Boston, but we were able to formulate something as a young team in Minnesota where we kind of could get people to gravitate and look at us more individually and see what we can do as players. And I had my best year statistically in Minnesota that first year I was in Minnesota. And I felt like Minnesota was a place where it was Al was the man, and I was kind of like the second, and everyone might have shared that second. Who's the top player on Minnesota? It might have bounced off every 10 to 12 games, but I was right there. And I knew I had to be a piece of the trade, so I knew I was valuable going into Minnesota. I'm like, They wouldn't trade for me if they ain't gonna be having me start and play a lot of minutes.
Right.
So that's how I felt about that.
What was the how was the transition? Just going from Boston to Minnesota, just the organizational switch.
Yeah.
Was it in terms of just like prestige and levels of organization? Was there a difference that you saw?
It was a big difference. I mean, Boston is a huge sports town. Diehard fans. They love the players that came through that environment. In Minnesota, I felt when we got there, I mean, they just lost their best friend. They lost the best player that they ever had come to that franchise. So for us to come there, it was like, we don't want to start over. We got all these young players. So, we had to I felt like we had to show them that, we trying to be here for the long haul, and we trying to show y'all we going to play as hard as we can, even though we know you had Sprewell before this, you had Garnett, Cassell, they had a bunch of players run through there, and it was just like we were kind of, I don't say behind the 8 ball, but it was like, who are these young kids? Mm-hmm. But Kevin McHale played at Boston, president, GM at Minnesota at the time when we got traded. So, he knew what he was doing, and I think he knew the timing for Garnett, and Garnett wanted to, switch positions and go, go get a championship, hopefully. Right. And he's been to the Western Conference Finals before, but, I think he felt like it was a time for him to go. And I don't know, I'm not going to speak for him, but when we got there, it was like, all right, guys, we the new kids in the block, but it ain't one player, Al. It's all 5 of us. Let's try to make something happen out of this.
Now, was Sebastian in that trade as well?
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Because he was with me in Boston.
Okay.
And Rondo was there. We drafted Rondo. Well, I mean, saying like me and Diddy haven't, but the Celtics drafted Rondo my second year.
Okay, and then.
And then they had traded for Sebastian, if I'm not mistaken, from Portland.
And you got fairly close with Sebastian.
Yeah, me and Sebastian became.
Now, what was his reaction when he got traded?
To Boston, or when he got
y'all got traded to Minnesota?
Man, they didn't. He was closer to New York. New York got Coney Island. I don't think none of us I was from Connecticut. I don't think any of us wanted to kind of go to Boston, but he wasn't playing as much as he wanted to play that second year, because Rondo came on the scene, and he was, I think they seen the future in Rondo being that next guard, that lead guard, and he was. Right. Look back, he started a lot of games. When you look back on our one, the year he was with us, he started a lot of games here, and then 2008. I mean, he was probably, don't get me wrong, I know P Hall of Fame, KG Hall of Fame. He was a big reason for their success as well. I mean, he's one of my favorite guards. Right. To this day, I tell people, if you asked me before we got on this, the first question, I would say Rondo is one of my favorite guards. Right. His knowledge when he came in was just, it was advanced, man. He was just seeing plays before, and I was like, man, this dude right here is nice. He could pass the ball, and he was able to help them lead them to the championship. But that's why, Bassie was kind of happy to go get a fresh start in another place, because now we all coming, so we all thinking like, I don't know if we all gonna start, but we all thinking like, yo, it's fresh, we gonna get some minutes. We got traded for KG. Right, yeah. we ain't going nowhere. Right. So that's how we felt.
Now, okay, so at this point in your league, year 2, going into year 3, what was your, like, because everybody wants to longevity, like you spoke about. So what did you find just being in the league that long, that would make you have a long career, have some longevity in the NBA?
I started to know. Well, I knew that year when I was in Boston. Year 1, year 2, I signed a 3-year deal. Year 1, year 2. So I know year 3 is the money year. Right. It's the money year. It's like, it wasn't selfish, but like, if I want to get another contract, I gotta play well. Right. And then at the time with my agent and just knowing the game, starting to learn the nuances of the game, gotta shoot. You want to shoot, between 35 and 39 from the 3. You're shooting a lot of threes. You want to have, you want to rebound at your position at a certain clip. You want to shoot a certain percentage. All these things matter. All those things mattered at the time. So I put that in my perspective, and I was able to go ahead and use that to somewhat of my advantage, but we had to play well. We didn't win a lot of games in Minnesota, but I think my individual and our individuals, the players who was up for contract, was able to show that and was able to get compensated for that. And that was my year I got paid after my 3 years for my rookie deal that I got from Minnesota after I had that good year.
So now,
third year.
Now that was those years in Minnesota was kind of like, now Gomes is coming into his own.
Yes.
He has an identity, he has a role. But I don't know if this pertains to this part of your career, but I know you were given that defensive assignment almost every game. So what was it? Was that the first time you were getting this defensive assignment? How were you able to just that mindset shift of like, okay, I got to lock in on D now?
It was that thing when I was like, Kevin McHale and the guys was like, look, I know you didn't play a lot of small forward in Boston, but we got Big Al gonna play the 4, so we want you to play. And you're a post. I watched you at Providence. Blah blah. We gonna post you up some. We're gonna give you that advantage. You're gonna be bigger than a lot of guys, but you're gonna have to defend these guys. Right. So that's when my mentality shifted, where it's like, I got a boss. Say I got a boss, and the boss say this is what I gotta do to get paid. Then this is what I gotta do. I gotta go and get right. So I had to even change my body a little bit more because now I'm playing on the perimeter. Now I'm guarding T-Mac. Now I'm guarding Kobe. Now I'm guarding Melo. I'm guarding Dirk. I'm guarding these guys. Like I'm the defensive guy on our team. So I had to really lock in, and this is where the game changed for me too. I had to really lock in and watch film on my own. Right. Not just when the coaches say, all right, we got film session before shoot around. It's like, all right, yeah, I'm cool. Damn, I remember I messed up at the 11-minute mark on this quarter. He about to kill me. But then when I'm guarding these guys, even though I know the plays, I really got to study the plays. I really got to see when they run that crossover. Jason Terry go set that down screen for Dirk. He coming up, and if you ain't on his hip, he gonna curl it. And if you too tight on him, he gonna fade on you with the one leg. So it's like you had to really look at the players and dissect them. And that's where I was able to become a real good defensive player by just using my angles and not really. I still wasn't a great athlete, but I was able to guard these guys positionally and be able to hold my own some of the time. Right. Now, I ain't gonna say dudes wasn't giving me no buckets. Cole definitely gave me some buckets. Melo gave me some buckets. Dirk gave me some buckets. When I stop and I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I ain't the best defensive player, but we talking about some Hall of Famers, bro. Facts. We ain't talking about, not name anybody, we ain't talking about no 8th man and we're getting cooked by, he getting 30, 8th man getting 30. No, it was the guys who was getting the bulk of the offense every time down. So I took that as a challenge.
Now, were there any like memorable moments for you when you were in favor of that challenge, where you locked down Kobe for a good possession, or anything that stands out in your mind where you was like, oh yeah, I got him that time?
Yeah, one possession. I don't even remember what possession is because probably the next 7 it was a bucket, foul, bucket, assist, stay down young. Like I remember him always, stay down young fella. Like after he pump fake and then go up into you and get the foul. It's just little things like that. So I played good defense, and I always had good games too. It wasn't like Kobe had 34. I wasn't having 4. I mean, I was 17, 18, 19, but I'm not getting 29 shots either. We got Big Al. Big Al getting a lot of the shots. I'm cutting off him, getting little scores, but I mean, I had some great numbers in my career, my time in Minnesota.
Yes, and also was this you were killing in Minnesota, but what was the year where Kevin Love came? Was that
he came my second year?
Now how did things, because he was like that?
Yeah, he was one of those. But in the beginning when Kevin Love got drafted, the first 20 games, he wasn't really Kevin Love he is now. Of course, it was Al, but he was a lottery pick, so he had to get some. We had Johnny Flynn as well on that team. He got drafted as well that year, and Rubio. But Rubio, I didn't play with Rubio because he stayed overseas that first year he got drafted. But Kevin Love, he big, he was a bruiser. He was great at UCLA, great rebounder. But in the beginning, in my opinion, he wasn't as mobile as he is now, and he was getting the rebounds, but he wasn't finishing around the rim with the likes of those athletes that was, blocking the shot at the rim. But he started to play more, but it wasn't nothing with me because I was at the 3 and he was at the 4. Him and Al started to do 4 or 5. Okay. So great player, still, champion. Much love to K Love. But in that early stages, he was coming on, and I was third year in, so we was, kind of trying to show him the ropes about, how to play the game. But remember in Minnesota, we was still wet behind the ears ourselves. Even though we was 3 years in, it was like, you guys own the franchise now, and we wasn't ready for those type of keys yet, I don't think. So we all were finding our way, even Kevin Love at the time. And then after that year Kevin Love came in, I was there one more year. And then I was a free agent, and then I signed with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, I seen you. Initially it was Portland, right?
Portland. But well, see what happened with my deal was when I signed with Minnesota, I had 3 years contract with them, and then the fourth year was their option. And like how the NBA not plays the game, but how sometimes your contract is set up. If you get traded before your option has to be picked up, then that team who, they traded me on draft night to Portland, but then Portland didn't pick up the option, so then I became a free agent.
Okay.
Because I signed a 3-year deal, but if they guaranteed my fourth year, then I got half of my fifth year as well. Okay. So Portland probably didn't want me on their books for the money reasons, or they had another plan in place. So they didn't pick up the option, and I became a free agent the next night after the draft.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I was, if they picked it up, I would have been in Portland, but
Right.
I didn't even, I was in Waterbury when the draft happened, and I didn't even go to Portland. Once the trade happened, it's like, yo, you've been traded to Portland, bro? And people don't know, I didn't even go to Portland.
Okay.
I was able to free agent the week later because they let me go right before July 3rd, where if I was on their roster, my stuff was guaranteed.
Okay. Now
My contract was guaranteed.
So now you're going to LA,
Yeah.
or do you get the call from Doc, or how does that?
No,
No, Doc's not even there yet.
Doc's not even there.
Right.
So my agent and we looking at what's the best place for me to go play. What teams are interested. There was a few teams, I don't remember every team, but the Clippers were one of the teams. They needed a small forward, and I had good years in Minnesota. So the Clippers signed me, and I signed a 3-year deal with the Clippers. And I went to LA, and if you look at, it was Boston. I was on the east side, and I went kind of to the mid-east, and then I went all the way to the left side. So I went Boston, Minnesota, Clippers.
Damn.
Good to Clippers. I'm still a small forward. They needed a small forward.
No, we just stopped it.
Yeah, that's good. Was it about to die?
Yeah.
What about this? This
We still rocking.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
We'll see how much better we
So you got a lot of talking to do, baby.
Yeah, that's mad funny you said the baseball thing because I texted you that, and then why? Yeah, the Wikipedia is wrong.
The what?
The Wikipedia.
It was somebody Gomes, though, baseball player.
Yeah.
No,
And you know who
It
just
says me.
It said you, bro.
It says
They
you got,
crazy,
like,
bro.
Said you had a quick stint.
In
the majors?
No, it says your ERA.
That's what it
ERA
said.
was 0.1.
Send that to me so I could tell people I was a golfer, bro.
So that's like.
And someone just texted me that.
I-
Oh, you just texted. I'm like, let me go to the bathroom.